Okay, as mentioned before, my opponent had mentioned that many teachers are getting tenure, and actually only 58% of eligible teachers got their tenure approved compared to 89% last year, and most of other teachers had their tenure decisions extended by an extra year. Tenure ought to be reserved for only the best teachers, and unfortunately as well, we know for far too long tenure was instead awarded primarily for the basis of longevity, not perform. So as we mentioned before, that even though as time is changing, also the tenure system is changing as well. You had mentioned before that there's seniority. There's actually no seniority. Like for instance, the Idaho legislature last year ended continuing contracts, essentially evaluating to tenure for new teachers and said performance, not seniority, would determine layoffs. Also, as of now, since in evaluation, the purpose of the evaluation is like to see how well teachers are doing in their classrooms. But now, as of 2009, they had included that in the evaluation that student performance be included. In 2009, no state requires student performance to be central to whether a teacher is awarded tenure. Today, 8 states do. The analysis also says 4 states now want evidence that students are learning before awarding tenure. As my partner mentioned before, arguing not against who has tenure, but why we let teachers get tenure. And as I have mentioned many times, that the problem is not tenure itself, it's administrators. And according to the Washington Post, if we held administrators accountable, not just institutionally in terms of school and district, adequately yearly progress measures as defined by the No Child Left Behind, but visually in terms of their own performance evaluations tied to pay and retention. There's also that, as my opponent had mentioned, that tenure costs so much. And in actuality, in 1998, New Jersey tenure law was significantly streamlined in order to cut down on both time and expense involved in tenure hearings. The NJEA supported the changes because we understand that protracted disputes do not benefit anyone. As I mentioned before about the apple, as even though like the rod and math sword, you had mentioned of throwing them away. Well, in your Oregon example, it says about actually and having them mentored in that sword. Why then throw away an apple when you want them to be mentored? And also, not all apples are perfect, and that's why we have there's ways in which the system of tenure, if you look at, in which teachers can become better and that sort. So the solution is in actually refining tenure itself, not trying to create another system of tenure. And also you got to look at the cost of that, of creating that new system of tenure. Do you have examples that show that Oregon, or actually the cost of how much that is to be? Like, and also, we're not just going to do that in one state, we're doing all 50 states. So there needs to be further evidence on your claim.